Hello, and welcome to SoberCast, where we provide AA speaker meetings and workshops in podcast format. We're an ad-free podcast, and if you enjoy listening, please help us be self-supporting by visiting Sobercast.com, look for the donate link, and drop $1 or $2 into our virtual basket. We hope you enjoy the podcast. Have a great day.
The format of tonight's meeting will be 4 13-minute speakers until approximately 8:30. The remainder of the meeting will then be open to the floor and closed at 9 o'clock. Can we please have a moment's silence to remember Tradition 5? Each group has but one primary purpose: to carry its message to the alcoholic who still suffers. Our first two speakers tonight will be Mike and Mike.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Mike and I'm an alcoholic. For anybody that's walked in here tonight that's new, I hope that you've seen what I seen when I first got here. I walked into this meeting a broken man. I was absolutely desperate. I was all over the place, and Dave Kay was one of the first people I met, and he greeted me really nicely, and I turned around, I'll knock that so-and-so out. Who's he think he is, speaking to me like that? I was so messed up and so angry, and all the bloke was trying to do was welcome me. But I walked in and there was a buzz like there was tonight. I mean, I looked around tonight and it was electric in here. And if you're new and walked in like I did, I just couldn't believe it. These people cannot be like me. You know, they're so happy. They're buzzing. They're all talking to each other. There's something going on here. It's just, they ain't like me. I've tried everything. I walked around I had social workers putting me in institutions. I went for 11 treatment centres every single time I come out. I mean, towards the end, rather, because at the beginning I didn't want to stop what I was doing. I wanted to sort of calm it down, you know, to drink when I wanted to drink, not drink when I didn't want to drink, which was happening more and more. And so I walked around everywhere. I was going in and out of all these different places, bloody basket weaving and all this sort of stuff. It was art therapy, they was calling it, you know, and I'd come out and I'd be all right while I was in there, but when I come out, my head would be all over the place. I did anger management. They had me punching these pillows, and I was like a little bit of an aggressive person. And it was like, punch these pillows, it'll get out of you there. That's what's wrong with you, the anger. And I'd be punching these pillows, and I'd walk out of there, and the first person I see on the street, I just whack them, because I just had this pent-up anger inside me. It was, what the hell can I do to get out of this mess? I didn't know what was wrong with me. You know, say it. Was it anger issues? Was it I needed to relax more? You know, I knew I was angry, but, you know, it started becoming obvious it was the drink. And I said, in and out of everywhere. 10 years of my life was just completely wasted. I walked into AA. I did hear people saying to me that it will get worse. You know, unless you do something about it, it will get worse. I didn't hear them telling me anything about what I could do to stop it getting worse, you know, and it did come true. It got worse. I ended up living in a shed, you know, I felt comfortable there, you know, it's a coal bunker shed thing. Anyway, I ended up down in Plymouth, and I thought, that's it, my life is over. I mean, look at it down here, you know, they're all backwards. You're going to see people playing bloody banjos on the roof and that, you know. Sorry to any Plymouthians. but that's what I thought, you know. Oh, Christ, another treatment centre. I spent 8 months in it down here, and I come out, and with that resolve again, I'm never, ever, ever going to drink again. I know what happens. All I've learned, I've just got to put that into practice. I would go home and, if I ate me dinner, I would immediately wash my plate up, because they drummed it into me. You know, there's therapeutic duties, they call it. Keep your place tidy. It keeps your mind tidy. I was doing all this stuff that they told me. And, the one thing that I didn't do was they said, go along to AA and get a sponsor. And I'd heard this pretty much in all of these 11 treatment centres I went through. They'd locked me up in the nut house 7 times, suicide watch, 24-hour suicide watch. Even they were saying it. Go along to AA, because if you don't, then the best that's going to happen for you is you're going to end up back here somewhere. If not, you know, you could end up dead, Mike. Oh, that's a bit drastic. But say it was getting to that point where I was a suicidal mess. You know, I couldn't see that. I'm going to die, you know, but I'm attempting suicide every 5 minutes and being locked up for it. But anyway, I said, come down here, and it was, Plymouth. Anyway, I come out of this treatment centre with this big resolve, and I think it was 3 days, something like that. I know, it wasn't very long, and I was drunk again, and I was in my flat, and I was on my knees, I was smashing my head on the floor, trying to stop all these thoughts going round in my head. I wanted to go up the shop and get some food, but by then I knew what I was like. The moment I'd go for food, the moment I walked into that shop, it would seem like a different head would be put on me, and it would just go, vodka, and I'd be off and run into the fight, and I'd be gone again. So I was there starving, absolutely starving, and the guy turned up at my place. He's knocking on the door, and I'm looking out the drawn curtain windows, and I think, I don't want to see anybody. I've got like this contradictory head. I want to do it, I don't want to do it. I want to see someone, I'm desperate, but I don't want to let him in and see me like this. It's a nightmare. But I opened the door to him. This kid, I was in treatment with him, and he was as mad as I was. This guy was crazy. But he sat in front of me, and we've got a book, Alcoholics Anonymous. Anybody that's new, get this book, Alcoholics Anonymous, and have a read of it. I read this book, and the story in there was exactly the same as mine. Here was this guy who'd been in just as many treatment centres as me or more. They had him up on a window ledge pretending to be a mace. I don't know what that was all about. All these sort of things, But this guy, he sat in front of me, and there was something different about him. He had this gleam in his eyes. He was excited. And he was talking. I wanted to punch him. How dare you come around here being this happy when I'm feeling like this? But he sat there. I said, well, what have you done? And he said, well, I've gone to the meetings and I've started working a 12-step program. Now, I'd heard this over 10 years, it just kept getting drummed into me. And, I say, I'd come along, I'd sit down, it ain't for me, God, rubbish, all this business, you ain't like me. But this guy, I knew him, I'd spent 8 months with him, and he sat there and he said, I've started working. He said, and I'm only on step 4. Oh, Jesus, this guy's, he's only on step 4. And there's no denying, there is absolutely no denying the change in this guy. So I went ahead and he said, come along to the meeting. And so I was a bit of a suicide nut, so I did this toss a coin, kill myself or go to a meeting, so come up heads, go to the meeting. Oh, right, okay, best of 3. I just did not want to be here, suicide seemed a better option. Coming in here, sitting down with a bunch of drunks in a church hall, listening to their drunks. So I got my own drunk stories. I just didn't understand what this was all about, But I came along, this guy had it. He had something. So I came along, I sat there, and my head was telling me to leave the meeting. I sat there on my hands because I was shaking so much and sweating. And I heard this guy here, John, he just shared something about this compulsion. He was saying something about, it took over, and whether he wanted to drink or not, bang, he's drunk. And my ears pricked up. That guy has got something the same as me. I can understand that. He's talking about something I can understand. That happens to me, and I don't know why. And then they started saying that there was a way out. The reason that they're buzzing and they're happy and they're excited to be here, and group events, if somebody, organises a group event, we'd see the whole group go. It was buzzing, it was electric, and I just could not deny it. Here it was in front of my face, not just this one lad, but a whole bunch of drunks, excited. And they were saying to me, all you need to do is work that 12-step program with a sponsor. And I thought, you're talking rubbish. None of that applies to me. It don't really talk about drink and stuff. What the hell? I don't believe in God. What's going to happen with me? What do I do? Anyway, I grabbed one of these sponsors, and he was a bit sort of short. I wanted to tell him my story, and he said, I'm not interested. I thought, well, how are you going to help me if you're not interested in my story? What he was interested in is, do I want to recover? Do I want what you people were showing on that night? The excitement, the buzzing, the ability to lose that compulsion to drink, and have a happy, productive life. And I wanted it, and I got this sponsor, and he took the mickey out of me. He gave me some suggestions to do, right in a gratitude list. Well, what the hell do I have to be grateful about? But, he pointed a few things out. I wasn't grateful for them, but I did it anyway. I wrote it down. He told me to pray. I asked him, what do I pray to? I got no idea, no concept of any God. What do I do? And he said, pray to the back of your eyelids for all I care. I've got enough faith for both of us. I thought, well, I can do that. I can pray to the back of my eyelids. That's not a problem. And it was simple things like that, if somebody upsets you, he said, pray for their health and happiness. And my response was, I'll take a sander to the bottom of the soles of their feet and sand. Oh, yeah, I was so angry. But he said, why not try it my way, Mike? Just why not try it my way? And, this group's 21 years old. I think it was Wednesday. It was the 8th anyway. 21 years old. I came in here. If you're a drunk like me, I was bouncing around thinking nothing. There is absolutely, the amount of things that I've tried, there is nothing that is going to help me. You people cannot be like me because I cannot get what you've got. I know it. I've tried. I've been sober before, and it's worse being sober than it is being drunk. And so I did these things, and miraculously, what John said happened to me. This compulsion to have a drink was removed. And anyone knew I couldn't stay sober for more than 3 days on my own. I'd come out of treatment centres and bang, I'd be back on it again. I come in here when this meeting had just turned 4. In a couple of weeks, 23rd of this month, I'll be 17 years sober. Now, that's not to brag. That's to let new people know. This has got depth and weight. I never thought this could happen for somebody like me. Depth and weight, 17 years. And I've had a tremendous life. It's been absolutely excellent. I've had my ups and downs, but with this program, it's been able to keep me on track. It's been able to keep me happy. All the promises that these people were giving me, a new world will come into view. Oh my God, everyone was against me. It felt like the whole world was against me. This new world has come into view where, I even like most of the people in here now. Can't stand Joe, but thank you. But yeah, tremendous things have happened, say I've had my ups and downs, but I was also told that, we'll have our low spots. But even with the low spots, what I've been shown, I can turn that around very, very quickly and become happy within an hour. So someone pees me off or something, I'd have been moody about that for years. I would have added bits onto the story so that you would hate him as well. It was awful the way my head worked. It was just constant thoughts going around. I lied to that person. I've got to do this, and I stole off of that. All that is gone. I live a happy life. I was going to say productive then, but I'm a spazzo. I'm retired. It's lovely, early retirement. But, I've had a great week this week, and if it keeps going, I'm going to be able to get out downtown and work with some newcomers. That's the best thing for me, working with newcomers. If you're new, I promise you, whatever you're thinking, I can tell you now, you are wrong. Whatever you're thinking, you are wrong. I come in here with all sorts of thoughts, and they just got wiped away with my sponsor's guidance. I phone him up and I'd say, look, this is going on. He'd say this, come on in, welcome. Come in, take a seat. Lovely to see you. The more the merrier. But we have got an electric meeting here. We really have. We have got pockets of people that go off and do stuff, that's fantastic. I would like to see us get back to doing things more as a group, when we organise these things, instead of like half of the people going, I can't be bothered, Coronation Street's on tonight, This meeting, it's still one of the best in the country, I would still like to get it back, that fire that I got when I come in here. I'd love to see that going on. People, we had to put our hands up to share because people were so excited to shout, my name's so-and-so, look, I've got this thing, you must have it, stay around, wait for the miracle to happen. We've got our hands right, and I'd love to see that tonight. Get this group back on fire, let's get them newcomers in here, and that's what's going to keep the newcomers in, making this place attractive. None of this crap that went on the other night. It's making this place attractive. That is what is going to get newcomers going. We are an attractive meeting, but we can always, work on that. It's been a real privilege for me to be able to stand up tonight in my home group and share on its 21st birthday. And thank you for the founders for starting this. You and AA have saved my life, and I really hope that if you're new, you can come in and grab hold of this and join us. Thank you.
That's it, Jamie. I was hoping for a bit of a faster clap than that tonight, actually. But my name's Michael. I'm an alcoholic. Welcome to the Road to Recovery Group Plymouth. No one likes us, but we don't care. No, that's it. We don't like them anyway. But yeah, I was talking to a few people outside, and before coming here. I probably had one ambition, and that was to be on Crime Watch. And I never made it. You know, I always got caught, and that was the story of my life. You know what I mean? My best laid plans always just never came through. You know what I mean? And drinking, I was the same as everybody else. I drank. It was consequences and prison sentences, and I started seeing people to try and stop my drinking, doctors, counsellors and things like that, and nothing was working. And my drinking was seeming to get worse and worse and worse. And it talks about the hideous four horsemen, that terror, frustration, bewilderment, despair, you know what I mean, not knowing where to turn next, not knowing where to go, and it was a dark place to be in, you know what I mean. I literally resigned myself to the fact that this is a card that I've been dealt with in life, and I may as well just carry on drinking till I die. But it was taking bloody ages, you know what I mean? And each day it was just, you know what I mean, it was on me every day. And me and my mates, all my mates was the same, you know what I mean? None of them had jobs. We would used to go around each other's flats, and we always used to say that if you're going to go into a treatment centre, make sure it's the last thing that you try. Because after that, there's nothing else. You know what I mean? I've done the doctors, counsellors, psychiatrists, and courses in prison, and probation, and things like that. So it come to a point where I thought, well, I'm going to play this last card. I want to stop drinking. And I used to take other things as well, and that's just like my story. And I'm going to go in. So I see me, drug and alcohol counsellor. I want to go into this treatment centre. So she sorted it out. They phoned me up. They said, can you come in November the 17th? I said, nah, that's my birthday. I'm out on the piss that day. I'll come in November the 18th. They said, well, it's not the right attitude to have, is it? I said, well, it's the way it is, but I guarantee you I'll be there on the 18th. And people say, you know, I can remember my last drink. My last drink was on my birthday, day before going in. I went out with my sister, you know what I mean? And it went well. You know what I mean? It went well. No consequences, no fights, no arguments. But by that time, I knew, by past experience, you know what I mean? You get brief moments of sobriety, but over any period of time, the shit will always hit the fan. And what I was dealing with over any period of time gets worse and worse and worse. You may have nights, days like that, you know what I mean, where lovely time. But over any period of time, you know what I mean, it causes more harm than good. And I went in there, and first thing they done was they got me to do a life story. And I remember looking around, a bit like here, really. I thought, I ain't telling all these people my life story. So I told them I was in the Falklands War, and I seen my comrades blew up next to me. I was 10 years old when the Falklands War kicked off, and they gave me a medal at the end of it. I said I'll put that with me Victoria Cross that I got from the Falklands. And when I got to the grisly bits, I was assigned someone called a buddy. And when I got to the grisly bits of my life story, where I seen people die in the trenches and all that, he would start rubbing me back because he could see I was getting upset, and he was like, and about 3-4 days after that, needless to say, they kicked me out. You know what I mean? And that was the only thing that they showed me in treatment, and that was the exit. And the counsellor there, I'll be eternally grateful for, and God bless him, he's dead now. But he said, I remember crying to him like a little baby. It was like a death sentence was passed on me. This was my last thing that I could try. You know what I mean? What else can I do? This is me. I'm going back to that life. I'm going to die. And I remember crying to him like, it's big hard man. I remember crying to him like a little baby. You know what I mean? Please let me stay. Please. I'll just blah, blah, blah. He said, we can't have you in here because there's things that I've done in there. He said, all I can do for you is phone this man. And that man was Wayne. And he said, go to the meetings that this man goes to. And that was Road to Recovery Plymouth. That was 26th of November 1997. And I'll come out. There's a couple of meetings I had to go to before the Friday night meeting. I remember coming here, you know what I mean? And you people, this is the first time I heard people talking about sponsors in that brief spell and treat. I've never come into meetings or anything. And I thought sponsors, I thought they paid you money every day you were sober or something, you know what I mean? And you may have to like wear their company logo. And I arrived in here and there was nothing like that. These people, you know what I mean? They talk my language. These people have been to the places where I've been, and I could match my mental inconsistencies around drink with theirs. And, let's say they talk my language. They were like me. And for the first time in my life, I realised I'm not special and different. My case isn't different. I'm like these people, you know. And if I do the same things as what these people have done, I should get the same results. You know what I mean? It don't say in the big book, you know, this will work for everybody except for Mike Dawson of Plymouth. You know what I mean? It worked for everybody. And that's what I've done. You know what I mean? My dear old mum, God bless her. You know what I mean? I just got chucked out again, and she's like in bits. And I come to me meeting, I went home to her, it's all like I struck gold. And she didn't share in my enthusiasm about the meetings at that time. She just thought it was another, you know what I mean, going to be another failed attempt. And I started the steps. I've got Wayne as my sponsor, who I'll be eternally grateful for. And 3 months, 6 months, a year, you know what I mean, my family was like, it's a miracle, you know what I mean? So to be pulled back from the gates of insanity and death, you know what I mean? Prisons, institutions, unemployment, sickness, disability allowance, you know, all to be pulled back from that with that crazy thinking of just wanting to be basically a gangster, you know what I mean? That's what I always had dreams of being, you know what I mean? I'd be sat in my bed sit with my oaky missus, dreaming of the day where I'm going to have this mansion, fleet of cars on the drive, page 3 girls on my arm, and I'll be in a shitty little bed set up Devonport with my oaky missus, cockroaches running across the floor. You know what I mean? Deluded, totally deluded. And to be pulled back with that mode of thinking and that attitude upon life and that, you know what I mean? No purpose, no direction, to be pulled back, pulled out of that, and then all of a sudden, by going through the steps with a sponsor, have this transformation in my thought, my attitude. You know, I remember Wayne, I treated the steps like work. I wasn't working when I come into recovery. I never had a job. And so I'd wake up, step 4, I'd just spend like most of the day on it, doing it, and next day I'd do it. I thought, people used to say to me, if you mean business, you only have to do this once, because I wasn't sleeping, I was withdrawing because I didn't do the detox in the treatment, and but I was doing I was feeling on top of the world, you know what I mean? I was feeling on top of the world, and 2 of my main fears were not sleeping and running out of drink. And I never had any of them for about the first 3-4 weeks of early days of recovery. And I was doing these suggestions, and I was feeling on top of the world. You know what I mean? He started me on the steps, cracked them out, got to step 9, and then I thought he'd punish me. He told me to get a job. I was gutted. all my NA, all my, like, mates that was going to these other meetings, they was going coffee shops every day, you know what I mean? Some of them was like 10 years sober, you know what I mean? And they was like, they didn't have to work. And they was going coffee every day. What a life. What a life. And then Wayne tells me, get a job. I've never worked in my life, mate. You know what I mean? And he was bloody dead serious as well. The next thing I know, I'm working. You know what I mean? I'm working. And since that I've always been in employment. I went back to college. I done a plumbing course and got all my gas things and, you know what I mean, set up a business. I remember being sat in my prison cell, you know what I mean, getting out with my discharge grant, going back to my mum's house. And my worldly belongings belonged in 2 HMP Exeter bags, you know what I mean? And to come out and get rehabilitated like that and be transformed from that life of crime and madness to a life like normal people. I remember early days when I was working, I'd seen somebody in a cafe, another worker. He's gone, hello, Mike, and how are you? And I thought, yeah, bloody how are you? And then I thought, use your program, be assertive, ask him. Yeah, all right, mate. Where do I know you from again? I lived next door to you for 6 years. Right. And I thought he was a dodgy because I'd never see him. He would go out first thing in the morning and he'd come back late. And I think, he's up to no good, that boy. Nobody ever sees him. I didn't realise he had a 9 to 5 job. You know what I mean? And so back in, you know what I mean? I'm in employment. I got married in recovery. Had a couple of little girls in recovery. Set up businesses. Things that I never thought I would do. You know what I mean? And I have that peace and serenity, that same way of thinking. Most of the times I'm not perfect, you know what I mean? And I don't proclaim to be. I have a laugh, you know what I mean? I'm a bit of a joker. I haven't lost my character or personality by coming here, you know what I mean? It's, if the newcomer could see no joy in what we do, he wouldn't want what we got, or she wouldn't want what we got. And we absolutely insist on enjoying ourselves, you know what I mean? And like what Mike said, you know what I mean? To get them meeting where it's electric, you know, everybody, not that like glum, like monotone, you know what I mean? Like the program to say these things, mean it, you know what I mean? Gratitude is in what we share and in what we do in AA, you know what I mean? Let's give it some, you know what I mean? I remember we was proper road to recovery, hardcore, vigilantes really, going around to other meetings, like this is how it's done, you know what I mean? And people sharing, you don't, as long as you've got steps 1 in 12, that's all that matters. You don't need, it's a suggestive program. You don't have to do anything. Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. Quoting the big book, giving it to them. I was having people asking me to sponsor them after 3 months of being in this meeting. And that's when I realised that counsellor that sent me here, and I thought, why has he sent me to this meeting for? It was then I realised, you know what I mean? He sent me to somewhere special that if I meant business, then I would get recovery at this group, because this group was bang on. It was full of winners, and people that didn't want to do these things, they wouldn't last long here, you know what I mean? And touch wood, November 26th this year, it'd be 18 years, you know what I mean? And what a thing. This, I can see you pressing that, the lighting working, so I just keep sharing. Yeah, no, mate, sorry. So anyway, you got me for another hour. I best stop there. I can see him frantically pushing that button, but honestly, that light is not working, so it's been a privilege to have been asked to share tonight, and welcome to any newcomers and visitors. And thanks a lot.
Thank you to our first two speakers. I'd now like to introduce tonight's final speakers, Dave and Andy.
I'm David, I'm an alcoholic. Thanks for the two previous speakers, Mike and Mike. And if you're new here tonight, welcome to Rose Recovery. It's our 21st birthday. This is the best group in the world for me. I was a hopeless alcoholic, do you know what I mean? Before I came here, I was the same as Mike and Mike, really. I was in treatment centres trying to get better. I didn't really know what I wanted, but that's where I was sent. And I remember being in them places and just suffering, you know what I mean? Talking about my emotions, my feelings, and take the alcohol out of me, I start to feel worse, you know what I mean? And after a period of time of being in now, I just felt like I was suffering. And but the best thing they sent to me was to go to Alcoholics Anonymous. We had to go to meetings as part of our, house expectations, you know what I mean? And I started coming to meetings. And for me, I just knew inside that there's something wrong. Do you know what I mean? I was crushed by this self-imposed crisis. You know what I mean? It talks in the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, losing the power of choice. You know what I mean? And for years, I actually thought I knew what I was doing. I was going there drinking. I thought I was having fun. But the time when I really tried to stop, I wasn't really cut out for that life either. I remember being around a group of people and. They were dangerous people, and I remember I used to go around to this squat because there was alcohol and other substances there. And I remember I used to see this guy every time he wanted to stab me. Do you know what I mean? It's like, but I'd be in there because there would be alcohol in there. Do you know what I mean? And I never knew, what was good for me. So when I came into Alcoholics Anonymous, it was the year that this group started. My sobriety date is the 1st of November, 1994, and I remember just coming to AA, and I remember being in Alcoholics Anonymous for a while. And hearing about this meeting, you know what I mean? And I heard some bad press about this meeting, and I'd like to thank Wayne for being my sponsor. I remember hearing Wayne share at this meeting that I used to go to, and I was just sitting there, and I'd been in Alcoholics Anonymous for it was at least a couple of years, you know what I mean? And I remember just feeling like I weren't getting what was on offer. Do you know what I mean? I was just sitting there, and I know today that people can't transmit something they haven't got. You know what I mean? I had a sponsor. Who clearly didn't know what he was, he didn't have this big book as how Wayne had it. And I remember just hearing his share, and there was something about him. Do you know what I mean? There was, he had a sparkle in his eye, and it was attractive recovery. And I remember just coming along to this meeting, and I for me, my story is slightly different. I started off in another fellowship. Do you know what I mean? But I started coming to Alcoholics Anonymous, and I remember meeting people like John, Wayne, Alexis, and hearing them share. And I remember thinking, I identified more with these guys than I did with the guys I was hanging around with. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't about the drinking, it was about the thinking, how I felt about things. And, I grew up, I didn't really grow up, but I kind of lived in a place called Brixton in South London. And my mum and dad were, good people. Do you know what I mean? They tried to do the right thing with me, and I was the kind of person that hated being told what to do. Do you know what I mean? I'd go to school, I would argue the toss with my teachers. It seemed to be, I tried to do the right thing, but, it seemed too boring. Do you know what I mean? So, the teacher would go out of the classroom. I remember just rifling through a handbag to take the money out of her purse. I'd go out of school, I'd go shoplifting. And it just seemed like I wanted to do bad things, you know what I mean? And the people I was attracted to were people like that. And I remember my teacher saying to me, he said, you're not going to go anywhere in life, you know what I mean? You've got a bad attitude. And I said, yeah, that's brilliant. Do you know what I mean? That's what I wanted, do you know what I mean? I wanted to be that sort of person, do you know what I mean? And so, I went off the path from an early age. So when I came into Alcoholics Anonymous, I'd spent all them years making the same mistakes over and over again. And, something had crushed inside of me, and that, the war was over, basically. I'm a defeated alcoholic, do you know what I mean? And, if you're new here tonight, you don't have to fight on forever. Do you know what I mean? There's people here tonight prepared to help you. I mean, there's a great solution, and that's what I found when I came to this meeting. I remember going around to my sponsor's house, and I remember him saying to me, we're going to do step 3 tonight. He's going to take me through through the steps. And I remember just getting down, saying a simple prayer, and just thinking that this is it. I can start to change, hopefully. Do you know what I mean? And from that point onwards, I just threw myself into the steps, and it's been probably the most easiest thing I've ever done, and sometimes the hardest thing I've done as well. And I started to change, despite myself. For years and years, I was just like, I was so jealous and envious. When someone was doing well in their life, I'd pray for their downfall. Someone had a nice girlfriend, I wish they broke up. Do you know what I mean? I was never satisfied with what I had. Do you know what I mean? I was always like wanting to be someone else, doing something else. My mind just raced uncontrollably. And I just, like my old man used to say to me, he said, "You're not the full shilling." Do you know what I mean? I'm not wired up properly. And that's the truth. Do you know what I mean? I was just, always, if people were walking up the escalators in London, I was walking down it, I was running up the wrong way. It seemed like I was never doing anything right. Do you know what I mean? And I came here, and it's just like I met my people. Do you know what I mean? It was like the people like I've heard people share before. It's like I'd never had the rule book for life. And I came here and I was shown how to live, and it's, what an amazing thing, to come to Alcoholics Anonymous and have a new chance at life. How many times, if people had cancer, and they're at Derriford Hospital, and you said to them, okay, you're dying, but if you come to like 3 or 4 meetings a week, and you work the steps, your life will change. There will be consequences. You'll start to feel better. What do you think they would do? And, the newcomer comes in here, and, I can understand that, because I was a bit like, is this really going to work? What am I getting myself into? But when you're beaten that way, I had no opportunity. I had no chance, and I just knew that I was going to drink again. You know what I mean? And it'd be a period of time. And I just threw myself into this program, and I've lived the best 20 years of my life. You know what I mean? I've had no regrets. You know what I mean? Since I've taken them steps. And it's a lot to do with this meeting. Do you know what I mean? That we're so lucky and fortunate to have, the Rose Recovery meeting. You know what I mean? Because this has just kept me disciplined and structured where I wouldn't be. Do you know what I mean? I'm a person that just wanders off quite easily, gets easily distracted, like I've heard Mike say before, and I'll just do what I want to do. Do you know what I mean? And as a result of doing this, I've been able to live a really, really good life. And it's not always been easy. There's been times where I've had dark times. I've come to meetings. I've been ill, and I've just I've spoke to my sponsor. I mean, even one time I said to him, I think I'm dying, do you know what I mean? Which was quite drastic, but, that's how I felt, do you know what I mean? And I remember he said, just keep doing what you're doing. And I remember I used to go to bed with my big book, just doing my suggestions, and it's just like the light come back on again, do you know what I mean? It was like, it's always the darkest before the dawn, and, I felt this life come back into me again, and this recovery, and that's what's on offer here. It's the most equal opportunities place in the world. We don't care where you've come from, what you've done. Everyone can recover. This is all inclusive to everyone, if you mean business, you know what I mean? It's not difficult, you know what I mean? It's like people make it difficult. The only person that's getting in the way is ourselves, you know what I mean? I know today I'm my worst own enemy, do you know what I mean? But I know what works, you know what I mean? I know this has worked, and I know the best years of my life lie ahead. I've got an amazing perception on life today, do you know what I mean? I was a person that was just overcome with problems all the time, do you know what I mean? And alcohol, I just seemed to be... I used to just medicate myself through alcohol because it made me deal with people. Do you know what I mean? Because I was always thinking people were trying to wind me up, they're trying to get to me. My bosses have always been cruel to me. But when I've done my step 4, I look back and see the way my attitude around people. I used to steal off my employers. I've never turned up. And it's just a great life on offer. You've got nothing to worry about. You know what I mean? For me, it's been the most amazing thing I've ever done. Do you know what I mean? It's been a life-changing experience. You know what I mean? And I've grown up in Alcoholics Anonymous. I was a person, I love what Clancy shares about having, most people, they kind of grow up, they go through breakups in relationships, they have disappointments in life, and they become mature people and they learn to deal with stuff. Do you know what I mean? And as alcoholics, I kind of missed out on that sort of part of life, do you know what I mean? Which is very important. I just drunk myself silly. Do you know what I mean? Any problem I had, I just drunk it away. And I've learned coming here how to grow up and deal with problems. You know what I mean? And I remember when I first come here, all I wanted was a girlfriend. Do you know what I mean? So I prayed for one. And you've got to be careful what you pray for. Because I got one. And then I got married. Do you know what I mean? And then I thought I had a life. I thought that was me. I'm sorted now. I'm married. And I've got a house and things like that. And then that just went completely wrong. Do you know what I mean? And I remember just talking to my sponsor. I remember even thinking about leaving this meeting at the time. I tried to leave this group. I was on the run for 2 days, held up in my flat with the phone ringing. And I just realised that I couldn't even run away if I wanted to. Do you know what I mean? That's the way I sort of see it. I come back to this meeting and my sponsor said, just communicate with me. You don't have to be perfect. Do you know what I mean? Who told you that? It's that perception I put in my own mind that I had to be a certain way. And that was a learning curve for me. I remember sitting there on my 8th birthday with my sponsor, doing a share, and thinking, I'm back home. Do you know what I mean? And I remember him saying to me, he said, you know, things will get different for you. Do you know what I mean? The next person you'll meet will be, you know, it'll be different. And I've been with my partner Leah now for 9 years. And it is, even though I've got a family and it's busy and it is hard, it's an amazing life. You know what I mean? You know, I've been able to live another life in AA as well. Do you know what I mean? Another opportunity. And, you know, no one has to, you know, if you're new here tonight or you've been around a while and you're not feeling part of this group or you're feeling not part of Alcoholics Anonymous, this works all the time, through dark times, through good times. It just keeps on working. Do you know what I mean? And I know as a group, you know, that saying, what Wayne put up there, and that's someone with visionary saying, you know, that the first date of this group and then the question mark at the end when it says that our great blessings never spoil us. You know what I mean? Because alcoholics, we get spoilt sometimes. You know what I mean? And that's why I keep coming back here and keeping it as simple as possible, because I know the stuff I've got in my life today, all the opportunities I've had, haven't just come because I'm clever or I've just shook this stuff off. You know what I mean? It's because I've come back here week in, week out, trying to do the right thing, even when I'm not feeling part of it sometimes. I just keep coming back because I know it works. Is that a red light to come? So yeah, you know, happy birthday, Road to Recovery. I know, you know, the best years of our life lie ahead. Do you know what I mean? And that's what's on offer here tonight. You know, anyone can get this, you know, and, you know, I've seen people come here over the years, you know, and start working the steps, starting to get that light back in their life, do you know what I mean, in their eyes, and they just leave. And I'm thinking, you're leaving before it even gets better. This is just the first stage of it. This is just for starters, you know what I mean? Wait till you do the rest of the steps. Wait till you're around a few years. Do you know what I mean? And when you start to get these principles in your life and you start to practice them, how better you're going to feel about things and how things are going to change. You know what I mean? That's what's on offer. It's the most amazing life that you can ever get. Do you know what I mean? For people like us that have been on our backsides, you know, been in that way of life, to come from that lifestyle to live how we live today, you know. And, you know, I've been to make amends to my family. You know, I was with my mum today. Lost my father 4 months ago. But I've been there for my mum. Do you know what I mean? You know, I've tried to be a good son, you know, when I wasn't, you know what I mean? And, you know, I don't fear death today, you know what I mean? Even that was a spiritual thing to bury my dad and say goodbye to him. Do you know what I mean? You know, that was quite grown up for a person like me. Do you know what I mean? And, you know, that's what's on offer. I don't sit on the sidelines watching everyone getting involved, thinking, when is it going to happen to me? You know, you can happen tonight. You know, that's what's on offer here tonight. And I'll leave it there. Thank you very much.
My name's Andy, I'm an alcoholic. Hello. Happy birthday to the Road to Recovery group, 21 years, you know, and I mean, I have to say thank you to the founders of the Road to Recovery group, you know, and the old timers, who kept doing it and have kept doing it the big book way, you know, with conviction, you know, and spoke up over the years, you know, since I've been here. I mean, I shuffled in through the doors in 1996, you know, and I have to thank them, you know, for that, you know, for their belief, for their conviction, and doing it the AA way. And the group not turning into something that Mike talked about was where it's only suggested that you do that, you know, and it doesn't work, you know. I mean, and that's the sort of thing an alcoholic like me will do without guidance and direction, and following the example of people who know better than me. That is the sort of thing that I would have said, and I still would, you know. I would find the loophole. I would find the way out, you know, and I would say, oh, it's only suggested that you do that, you know, and that's what I would have done. So I am grateful to the old timers, you know, and even when, you know, and my thinking, lots of times, you know, my thinking over the years, you know, I mean, like I said, I mean, I arrived there in 1996, 19 years this year on the 24th of September, you know, absolute, amazing, you know, and I just love being part of Alcoholics Anonymous, you know, and I hope that if you knew That's what we want you to feel. You know, that's what we want you to feel. There is a solution. There is a way out. And, you know, when I arrived here, and I got a copy of the basic text, and I mean, I've heard my sponsor say this quote many times, the family afterwards, that alcohol is just one step away, from a highly strained mental condition, you know, and, that suited me fine. That's me, you know, and, cause I always knew, I mean, I didn't think it was alcohol, but I always knew that there was something wrong. You know, I just knew that I just was so unhappy, or I was angry, you know, I was, smiled very little, you know, and, when I had that taste of alcohol, without going into all of that, too much of that, I just thought that's it for me, you know, I love that effect of alcohol. Oh, I love feeling like this. You know, and as soon as I had that alcohol in me, I mean, you were my best friend. Oh, mate, yeah, right. And, yeah, brilliant, you know, and I just loved it. I loved the effect of that alcohol, you know, I mean, I could, and I was a fighter as well when I had drinking me as well, you know. Yeah, I'll sort them out, yeah. And, I'd be knocking on people's door at 2, 3 in the morning and say, like, I want a word with you, you know, I mean, that's what I was like. It was just a pain in the ass, you know, and didn't get any better, you know, it didn't get any better. And, but for me, when I arrived here, the road to recovery, I mean, that's what it has been. It has been the road to recovery. You know, I have recovered. I found a way out. You know, I sponsor people today, and, you know, sometimes with sponsors that will share something with me that they're really kind of like struggling with, I'm so grateful to be able to offer my experience around that and be able to say to them, I used to feel like that, but I don't anymore. You know, but if you do this, you don't have to feel like that. You know, it will get better, but it will get better. You know, and, you know, and as David said, you know, that when you see people, and you come in and, it's like, and you see them disappear, you know, you see them sort of like drifting away, and it's just, what are you doing? What are you doing? You know, I mean, this is it, you know, and, I mean, I was told from very early on, to get involved, because, the Road to Recovery group is so much more than the Road to Recovery group. There's a lot that goes on outside of the group. There's, the way I feel about the group, about my recovery, about Alcoholics Anonymous enables me to function elsewhere. You know, I wouldn't, you know, I mean, I could be something going on in work, which quite often there is where I work. I mean, I work, in mental health, you know, and sometimes it can be extremely challenging, you know, but, I'll have that quiet time. I'll use the tools of the program. I will pray or take inventory, and I will look forward to getting to my home group, you know, I will look forward to getting to my home group, and I will look forward to that quiet time and reading my big book, you know, and, taking my inventory and seeing what a fool I am sometimes, and looking at that, the gratitude list as well. And I've been able to maintain that gratitude as well, you know, over the years, you know, no matter what, I'd be able to maintain that gratitude, for Alcoholics Anonymous, you know, because when I arrived here, that I didn't have, well, perhaps if I go and speak to so-and-so, that might sort it out, or perhaps if I do that might sort me out. There was nothing, you know, there was absolutely nothing. You know, talking to doctors, talking to counsellors, it just didn't do it for me. It just didn't do it for me. But when I arrived here, you know, and it was just incredible. It was absolutely incredible. You know, I will never forget my first meeting. It was just what I heard in that meeting, what I heard you say. I was just blown away. I couldn't believe that you had felt as I did then, but you didn't feel like that now. You had done the things I'd done. You'd thought the way I'd thought. I heard my sponsor share. And I just thought, this is amazing. Whatever's here is incredible. Do you know what I mean? It really is amazing. And I did go home and I did say to my family, I'm an alcoholic. That's what's wrong. I know what's wrong. Yeah, I'm an alcoholic, and thought I was nuts. They did anyway. But I came back. I came back. I knew when the next meeting was going to be. I knew that somebody in the meeting was going to give me a lift there, that I was going to get there. But if you're new, I really hope that you do feel like that. I hope that you feel like that. Really, really want you to feel like that. And I got on with things. I got on with things when I got a sponsor. When I got a sponsor, I heard this man share. I thought, I'm going to ask him to sponsor me, and it took me a while. It was just a couple of weeks thinking about it. And people would say to me, Andy, have you got a sponsor yet? Got a sponsor yet? I was, you're going to ask me again. But I asked this man to sponsor me. I asked him to sponsor me. And, I didn't think that he looked grateful enough that I'd asked him, to be honest. I really did, there was nothing on me. But he did, and he got me doing things and taking the actions in Alcoholics Anonymous, When he said, be round my house at 3, I was there at 3. When he said, come phone me at 2, I phoned at 2. And I just did it, and I have still got that around my sponsor, that healthy respect, I really have got that around my sponsor, and I've got it around my sponsor's sponsor as well. I did with David B, and I do also with Clancy as well, when I first met Clancy, I kind of Clancy could probably do it better than me, but I kind of was just shuffled up to him like that, and it's because it's my sponsor's sponsor, do you know what I mean? And I went to shake his hand like that, and I accidentally grabbed his finger, and he went, "Don't be a finger grabber," and I sort of, and I just, and like that, and. But that's good for me to feel like that, because I never felt like that around anybody, I used to just think, he doesn't know what he's on about. Yes, Mike. But I didn't feel like that around anybody. So that was the first for me, having that sponsor, having that figure that I would follow guidance and direction from, because that was absent for me. I was an extreme example of self-will, run, riot, and if you're new, buy the copy of the basic text, start to read the literature. AA comes of age at the back of that there, that there's just an amazing piece there, and it's just so me, and it is so great to have that identification, and that's still there now, and, I can remember preaching to my, then partner a few years ago, and we said, look at this, look at this, look at this, I don't do that now. I do to newcomers, but because it was just all in there. It is all in there. It's in the basic text, and my sponsor got me doing service very early on, suggested that I do service, and if I am sounding anything like that, I went, oh, thank you. I didn't. I really didn't. I still thought, oh, why should I do that? Why should I do that? Why should I do that? But I thought it, but I still did it. I still did it. You've heard me before say that when I did tea service, I did tea service on a Tuesday, and I think now, what a horrible person. I did tea service, and I made someone a cup of tea, and he came up for another one, and I said, no, you've had one. You've not had another. But I thought that's what you had to do. You'd had one. But it's just been great fun. And like I said about the things that go on outside of the group, that we do, do get involved in that. Thank you. Get involved in that. Because if it was me, if I didn't do that, I know that I would be sitting at home thinking, I wonder what they're doing. Well, I should have been there, really. I know I should have been there. And that is part of being part of it, of being there, When I've turned up to the things that go on outside the group, and I'm looking forward to tomorrow, food. But when I've got involved in those things, and I was sort of apprehensive, and that it's enabled me to do what I do today, you know, and so much more. It's enabled me to have fun, you know, and just have so much fun, you know, the things that we've done. I mean, look at our history books, you know, of what we've done over the years, you know, and just really fantastic memories and real life, you know, and real reality, you know, and that's something that just didn't happen for me. Just didn't happen for me. I thought about joining things, you know. I used to sit in my bedsit with a bottle of cider, and plan, and nothing happened. You know, nothing happened. Very little happened. So I went and got drunk. You know, I used to have to think. Well, I'll end on this. I used to think before I went out, get drunk, and I'd think, right, Andy, you're looking good. You're going to go out tonight. You're going to have a few drinks. You're going to have a bit of sex, and you're going to have a lovely time. And I got brought home by the police, and that was it. So nothing happened. So I will leave it there. Thank you very much.
Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed the podcast. Sobercast is ad-free, and we'd like your help in order to keep it that way. So if you'd like to help us be self-supporting by pledging $1 or $2 a month, visit Sobercast.com and look for the donate links. Thank you very much.